Well, remember all the parties and things. So it have three high times in the country, you know. Carnival is one, Christmas is the other.
Stranded by the pool was half your ads. What the hell was that? Did you go?
No, it was good. Well, that party we just promote every year, growing. As a matter of fact, we taking it up the islands now.
That was your pet?
Well, you know, we involved as a
Nice,
promoter.
man. Good job.
Our fete is going to be triple 12. So you have 100 tickets to sell for that. November,
Where are you going to send to sell tickets?
that's your problem. I am not to do that. I don't want the ticket. I don't want the money. You can get them away. $200 a ticket. Tickets go on sale in May. Parties in November. Triple 12 is the party. 12 midnight to 12 midday.
And you will have systems in place in case of stampede. And
Yeah, we only have people that kill people in our party, man. At your baby bar, we shoot you.
you know you're live on social media. Right? Huh? Serious thing today, boy.
Oh, Lord. PM in June say he's not wasting time. And he was called for the removal of the CJ. 6 months, 8 months
You're not
later.
wasting time. They launch URP programs in La Hoqueta Talparo. Massive
Today.
programs start today.
Yeah.
That is the job of the Integrity Commission, is to now go in and see if that is state funds being used to manipulate votes for election. That is misbehaving in public office. And you had to ask for that.
So the money from Maxi Coffee, they're using it too.
Maxi Coffee.
You see, it's $1 million so far
$1 million, yes.
that we spent on Maxi.
It's 15 million TT we spent already on Maxi. If I got for 6 months, I hope it was 15
Eh, forget
million.
Lotto. Let one of your children breed Rowley child. That the real payoff.
You think you'll get a big work?
Yes.
Alright, let's get inside a sense of sensibility. 6 minutes after the hour of 11 o'clock, which comes to you courtesy of Value Optical. And don't forget you can check out our Hearty Foods on a Wednesday. Well, that would have been yesterday, of course. Not today, but yesterday. Next week, Wednesday, recession Wednesdays. Hot box meal daily, $20 between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m.
And don't forget that you can also still get Nutrina whole chicken for $104. That's the place. Because chicken is the Trinidad and Tobago favorite pastime food. That's the food we eat. Well, welcome, Philip.
Good day, Robert. Good day, Kevin. Good day to the loyal listeners, 104.7. Good day to all of the followers on Facebook, on social media. We're live on social media. Kevin, are you live on your station now, online?
Yeah, we are.
What is the web address? More FM.
MoreFMTrinidad.com, but on the YouTube it will just be More FM. Just get in there and find More
On
FM.
YouTube, look up More FM, M-O-R-E FM 2 words.
Yeah.
Look up More FM if you want. There's another feed besides this feed that I am doing on social media. And if you want a message, don't WhatsApp, send me messages on Facebook Messenger. We have that open as well. Good morning, everybody.
Philip, I mean, the reality is we have to go right for the jugular. I think the first part of the discussion this morning would be to deal with this Maxi Coffee situation. Something you have been harboring about trying to bring closure. Is the
They've
man
been
living?
ducking
Is
the
man
issue.
dead?
They've been ducking the issue, and they've been trying to make it sound like it is nobody's business to ask about Maxi Coffee. But I want to prove them wrong this morning, because the fact that you're raising the issue, the Prime Minister yesterday in his press conference admitted to certain things that put the government in trouble.
Like what, boy?
He put himself in trouble, and he put his government in trouble. And he doesn't understand what he's doing, and I'm realizing now that Keith Rowley's problem is he is not very intelligent. He doesn't understand what he's doing, and they try to manipulate the media.
Try? When I look at the media
same-
has been fully manipulated.
Well, no, because the Express tried to wiggle back. After they get caught broadcasting
False news.
what was Fitzgerald Hines posting on WhatsApp as Maxi Coffee.
Is Fitzgerald
It was
Hines
Fitzgerald Hines. It's Fitzgerald Hines.
You
We-
sure?
We found out it's Fitzgerald Hines. But after they were caught, after they realized that they were conned, and they were broadcasting fake news, because all you had to do was call a doctor and ask, "There's a gentleman on his second stroke. Can he speak like this?" Doctor tell you no. It's not possible.
But there wasn't no speaking, wasn't it just written words?
Your mind makes communication is communication. When it comes out your mouth, you write it, you type it. you are assembling thoughts.
Right, okay.
And you're selling those thoughts.
Right.
That's what communication is. When
Yes.
you and I communicate, I put in your head what is in my head, either through speaking, through writing, through typing, whatever.
Or visual.
Right.
Could you imagine you in a carnival costume?
Let's stick a pin there. Next year we'll be ripped. Anyway, come back to this. What Maxi Coffee, what they thought was Maxi Coffee, any doctor will tell you, you're on your second stroke.
Yeah. It's not easy on a second stroke. I'm almost certain.
He on his deathbed.
It's supposed to be.
He will never not be on his deathbed, Robert. They have no... What you just have to understand is the ischemic incident, the stroke itself. When that happens, there is no undoing it. There's no reversing it. The most you could do is manage it.
Well, we saw that with previous Prime Minister, the late Patrick Manning.
And I said that
And he was still fortunate to be able to still walk around and everything, but he was not able to speak.
And the minute he went back into politics and tried to put himself back into active politics, he died. You cannot take additional stress. What you've lost in your brain on each stroke, the rest of your brain tries to pick up the slack and tries to manage, but you will never be 100% you.
No, you cannot be. I agree with you.
And you are always in mortal danger.
Especially if the stroke had some kind of effect on your mobility.
Maxi Coffee is in total mortal danger. If Maxi Coffee is alive, and we don't know that.
Nobody knows.
Because
not even the Prime Minister,
no,
because yesterday he said he didn't know.
You see what I'm telling you? He said yesterday, he admitted again that he's a liar.
Yeah.
The Prime Minister admitted to the nation yesterday that all of the information that the government has been giving the people on Maxi Coffee's condition, they've not gotten from his medical officers. They've not gotten from his physician. They've gotten this information second-hand and third-hand despite spending millions of Trinidad
But
dollars.
one of the classical things is that where the man resides right now in the United States of America, we have an ambassadorial post.
But
And that person there could, of course, take a person out of the office of the Trinidad and Tobago government and send them to this institution to meet, to see the man.
But you don't even have to go there. We don't even have to send Mark Bassant. What you have to
Forget
realize,
Mark Bassant. I have no respect for him at all.
And I'm using this because they
Don't call his name.
but they send him all over the place.
Don't call his name. Don't call his name.
Shelley Das, who was just demoted.
Well, we could call her, yeah. She at least a pretty lady.
She was just demoted from head of news as Guardian Media slowly collapses. They just demoted last week from head of news to a news editor. Shelley have time on her hands now. They could send Shelley.
No. I prefer to send your girl.
Let's take a pin
The
there.
one on CNC.
Let's take a pin
That
there.
lady should really go.
Let's take a pin there.
Especially if she drives.
You
to
just
Benin.
raised a point. You just raised a point. Who? The Barbie doll? Forget that.
Barbie doll is the one to go.
Stick up. We need a thumbtack. We don't have pin. When you raise that point, I want you to understand, your Prime Minister, he's not mine. He's not mine.
But my Prime Minister.
You are to make a decision.
No problem. Okay.
I no longer accept him as my Prime Minister.
All right, good.
I think that we now need to start a clock ticking until we fire that deceitful, lying, double-tongued, hypocritical fabricator, Keith Christopher Rowley. And he has shown...
How much hours you put in my clock?
Start the clock now until...
No, but where did it come down?
Till election.
Oh, well, okay.
The clock is on.
Well,
Kevin,
that's too long. That's too long.
No, because...
Too long.
Robert,
2020 is what we're
Robert,
talking
he is in
about.
trouble.
He is in no trouble.
I'll show you how he's in trouble. Let me make my case.
Go ahead.
He is in trouble now. And he has brought the Speaker of the House of Representatives and maybe even the DPP and the Commissioner into disrepute.
Now, I more believe the Speaker of the House is in trouble.
He has smeared the entire cabinet by his news conference yesterday. He has exposed Stuart Young, the head of the government's public relations machinery, as another fabricator, a liar. Trinidad is in a position this morning where you cannot tell if you can trust your government.
Yeah.
That is deep and murky water.
Well, you see, you are saying that from a point of view of an opposing political
Not
party.
at all.
Yeah.
I give you that on fact. Here it is.
No. You're saying that as an opposing political
You want
party.
the facts? I am a citizen of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. I don't need to be a politician.
No,
I
but
want you to hear
you can't
this.
run away. You can't disenfranchise yourself from the point of what you are.
But you need to hear this.
Yeah.
This is important, and you have to put this into the conversation. The Parliament's standing orders state any member who is unable to attend a sitting of the House shall inform the clerk as early as possible of his inability to attend and seek leave of absence.
Yeah.
Trinidad needs to understand something. Without the Parliament, you have no government. government is a tool and a function of Parliament.
Yeah.
The first thing we elect are 41 members of a house.
Yeah.
Out of them, we get a government and an opposition.
Yes.
Without Parliament, you have no government. Parliament is sacrosanct. Every seat must have somebody sitting on the seat. The Constitution begins and ends our political representation inside the Parliament.
So what you tell me, if you have 40 and you don't have 41, the Parliament is duff?
No, but the Speaker's job is to make sure that all 41 are present.
Good.
That's his job.
I accept that. So we
Here-
back to the point that the Speaker has to really account for the one.
Hear this one. It states, if any member is absent from the House for more than 6 consecutive sittings
Sitting, yeah.
occurring during the same session without the leave of the Speaker, such member shall vacate his seat. You see how that even cuts the Prime Minister out of the conversation?
Yeah, he has no say.
The Speaker could declare the seat vacant.
Yes.
The Speaker of the House, under
But
49
but don't forget, it says, it gives a caveat there. If without permission.
Good. We agree. I agree. Say that again.
It says that it must have permission.
Right. It states if any member is absent from the House for more than 6 consecutive sittings occurring during the same session without the leave of the Speaker, without permission, such member shall vacate his seat in the House under Section 49(2) of the Constitution.
So-
Hear what you just say. When you just say without permission,
Yeah.
you just indicted the Speaker of the House. Because this calls for 6 days. The Speaker of the House has been giving this man leave for 6 months. And the Speaker doesn't know on which grounds he is giving that leave. She has no facts on which to give this leave. Because the Prime Minister admitted to the nation yesterday
He didn't know.
he doesn't have any facts. So his people, when they go to the Speaker to seek leave for the Member of Parliament for Lawakata Talparo, what are they telling her? What are they showing her?
Anybody-
What is she asking for? On what grounds is she granting 6 months of continuous leave? The Speaker of the House should be taken before the Privileges Committee of Parliament and removed.
Immediately, I agree with you. She has broken her
That is
responsibility.
contempt for the
Well, you know,
rules.
what we need, though, people, somebody out there must have Bridget Anizet George's telephone number. Text us the number or call us now and give us a number for Bridget Anizet George, because we would like to speak to her. I think it's important that she faces the music.
The Speaker is in contempt.
I feel she is entitled to. But did the opposition fail? Didn't the opposition fail also in not calling on the Speaker to say, could you advise?
But if you were the leader of the opposition today,
Yeah.
you would be standing up today and saying, this is a matter of urgent national interest.
Yeah.
We have
Provide the evidential proof.
we are confounding the Constitution.
Yeah.
We are end running the source of where all laws are made.
Yeah, well,
We
remember we walked into the Parliament. I have credible information there left in my mailbox with regards to
No, don't quote the fabricator now. Don't quote master fabricator now. Let's stay on.
628 9595 628 3131 is the number. Just call Kevin. We need a number for Bridget Anizet George.
Let's stay on point. Your Prime Minister yesterday
Kevin will take your call. You just call. He'll take the call.
admitted to the nation yesterday.
Now, don't tell me nobody out there have Bridget Anizet George number. You know, that'll be confounded BS. Somebody must have a cell phone number. As a matter of fact, the last time I saw her in Panorama. So she's a Panorama person. So come on, somebody give us a number for Bridget Anizet George if you want to find the truth. If you don't want to find the truth, we understand.
You live in a country where no public office holder are accounting to the people. Yesterday, 17 people were killed in a shooting in Florida. And every single
But
news...
you know they lock up the young boy.
Robert,
He was incarcerated as of this morning, you know.
news stopped. And everything
Nobody had the number for Bridget Anizet George.
focused on this.
Hey, take that call to Kevin. See who it is.
Robert,
Good morning. Hello. Oh Lord.
What was it say?
She's number 2.
I want to
Listen,
make
or
a,
they get serious.
I want to
Take
make
the
a
call,
point. I
Kevin.
want to
Take
make
the
a
call.
point
Take the
about
call. We want the
Florida.
number.
I want to make a point
Good
about
morning.
Florida.
Hello. Yeah.
People don't waste time now. Call if you have the number for the Speaker
Yeah,
of
if you
the
don't have
House.
it, we understand.
Don't waste
Alright.
time, don't waste
1
time.
million Trinbagonians and none of they have the number for Bridget Anizet George.
And I tell you, dial 6411. But they
Alright,
don't have
okay.
the
Let me
information.
tell you what. We want to invite Bridget Anizet George to a breakfast party. So, she don't pay for nothing.
The North stand still up.
Yeah, we could have a party right there.
Bring 2 pan, yeah. Listen, I want to tell you, yesterday the entire news machinery in the United States stopped. It reached as far as the British Broadcasting Corporation. Every 15 minutes, that the top story was this shooting that was taking place in Florida. In the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, your Prime Minister, actually not even him, a junior police officer, because I mean he wearing khaki, but there were people far superior to him who should have been the people that brought the information of such a credible threat that they say to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. The Commissioner of Police, the Chief of Defense Staff, and the Minister of National Security should have been the people to present that information if it was a serious threat.
You know, Philip didn't invite me to that press conference.
Robert, it was an elaborate con.
You know,
It is an elaborate con.
Look, we're looking for your number, man.
Hello?
What is it?
Something about our K2K Lion share across the morning.
Yeah, well, okay, we understand K2K is a special band, no problem. Just organize and give us the number. We don't want to know what band she was in.
Nobody knows the number.
Nobody know Bridget and is that George number?
Nobody who knows the number is going to call and give the number because she would not take the call anyway.
Oh, no. Try for the Pope then. Let me see if we get a number for the Pope.
But your Prime Minister's press conference yesterday. Your Prime Minister's press
I was
conference.
tempted to go in over Philip, but I think if I go there, I'll lock me up yesterday. So I decided to stay here.
But you see, that was not a real press conference because there were no real press present.
Nobody.
It was circus. It was circus. And I sent a media release to the media of questions that they could have asked, that they should have asked. Yeah. Because at some point you expect the media to understand their job is not to run interference for those governing, but to represent the government,
People.
as it was said in the Post,
Yeah.
that movie that we saw. And I think I will pay for any journalists who want to go and understand what journalistic ethics mean. I'll sponsor them, popcorn and cokes too, to go and see in movie town.
No, they want Pepsi.
Well, whatever. I mean, they can get whatever they want. I want to show you how your Prime Minister put himself in more trouble.
Go ahead.
Anna Ramdas in the Express broadcast whole disgusted coffee. It was an attack at me because I keep raising the issue and the government is getting pissed off that I'm not letting this issue die.
And we mustn't let it die.
But
I support the issue.
So the headline was disgusted coffee because Fitzgerald Hines used a fake profile to send fake news and the fake media broadcast the news.
I don't know if people are aware that the old Fitzy at a carnival sometime in the past was walking the road with a fake gun in him, a rifle.
Robert, not even Fitzgerald Hines respects Fitzgerald Hines. So nobody
You
cares.
sure, bud?
Hema only allows Fitzgerald Hines on the show, on her show,
Dictate.
because her handlers
Dictate.
tell her,
Yeah.
let him come and romp about and slander Philip Alexander. Because that's what happens. Because she would never pick up the phone and give Philip Edward Alexander equal time.
You think
Because
so?
I will dismantle
Nah,
and discredit.
Barbie doll
I
will
will
give you the time.
discredit Fitzgerald Hines. He comes on the TV to walk and talk like Massa.
Barbie-
That is his problem. His problem.
Barbie doll will give you the time.
All right, well, we'll wait and see because he
I am telling you, she's hearing me now. Expect a call.
Hear what your government did. This is what Anna Ramdas put as the caption.
That's the UNC support
The
mechanism.
medical bill of Government Minister Maxi Coffee will be footed by the state according to provisions in the Salaries Reviews Commission SRC report. That sounds credible if it were true.
So where she get her facts from?
But this is my point. You have a government that is making up its own
She get her
facts.
facts from Asha Javid.
And she, as a media operative, a journalist, didn't have the common sense to go and read the Salaries Reviews Commission report. So somebody tell you something,
And you accept it.
copy and paste that.
Oh.
Here it is. The 98th report of the Salary Reviews Commission provides the terms and conditions of services of officers within the purview of the SRC.
Yeah.
Under the heading Medical Benefits, the report states a cabinet minister has entitlement to medical attention treatment and prescribed drugs for self, spouse, and children who are unmarried and under the age of 18. Listen to this. At any healthcare facility under the regional health authorities, including the Eric Williams Medical Sciences Complex. This is the part you are to hear. Where such medical attention treatment is not available at such healthcare facilities, the cost at any other hospital, institution, or nursing home in Trinidad and Tobago to be met by the state. Keith Rowley and his cabinet stole treasury funds
Yeah, they broke the
to
law.
pay Maxi Coffee's bill.
They broke
That
the law.
is theft. Keith Rowley does not have the right
No, he doesn't.
under law to decide to go and pick up millions of Trinidad and Tobago dollars for his child father-in-law healthcare bills. And this is where we at, because Keith Christopher Mugabe Sabga Rowley has now misbehaved in public office, and the Director of Public Prosecutions and the Commissioner of Police have to get involved. The entire cabinet that sat to make that decision, because yesterday the Prime Minister said the cabinet made a decision to spend a not insubstantial sum. I want the Prime Minister and that cabinet to tell the nation
how much.
Besides that, on which authority did you use?
Okay, well, again, you don't know Bridget and is it George number? Anybody know the PS from the Ministry of Finance telephone number? Because he's the next man we could call. Because he's supposed to be able to account for this money.
The Director of Public Prosecutions could make all of them account.
But you know,
the Commissioner of Police.
That is like asking for the Pope to come down.
Stephen Williams, this is the time for a legacy, my friend. Stephen Williams, you have to write the Prime Minister and ask him, on what law or provision in our Constitution
you do have that right to do.
Did you rely? Who does it then?
Stephen Williams don't have that right.
Stephen Williams could launch an investigation. This
is
is not.
Yeah, he can launch an investigation, but he can't question the Prime Minister.
That is how the Prime Minister is a public servant.
Yeah, but he can't question him.
Listen, there's a separation of powers. Even though he is acting and the Prime Minister could revoke his acting appointment, Stephen Williams could still put an investigation in train. Once those train wheels touch the track, the Prime Minister can't interfere with that. And if the Prime Minister appoints a puppet to take the wheels off the track, that is more misbehavior in public office. Listen, this is a serious thing now, you know. And you can't just sweep this away. Keith Rowley needs to understand the people of Trinidad and Tobago are not fools. You have interfered with public funds that you did not have the authority to spend. We want to know who is going to call you to account. It is time now, Trinidad.
Nobody calling him to account.
Netanyahu is being charged any day now for corruption while a sitting Prime Minister.
I wouldn't doubt that, but
that is happening now.
Yeah.
As a sitting Prime Minister, Tony Blair was on TV yesterday apologizing to the people of Great Britain and the world for going into Iraq.
We talked about that this morning.
He apologized.
Yeah, I didn't hear him.
Tony Blair.
So it's only Bush to apologize.
He took full responsibility. He has opened the doors for prosecution.
No, but
Tony Blair could be prosecuted.
No, but they did prosecute him, you know.
He could be further prosecuted. He has absolved his government and cabinet.
And he put the burden on his shoulders.
The buck stops with him.
But it's a big man thing.
That is a big man thing.
Yeah, that's a big man.
But we don't have a big man Prime Minister.
No, well, okay, two outside children, we have a big man Prime Minister.
And that's my point. That's why you cannot trust.
And that's the only two we know.
But that's why you can't trust Keith Rowley.
You're sure you're not the offspring of Keith Rowley?
I want to say
be very careful.
I want to say I kind of certain. But
people, we having a little fun, but it's a serious matter here. This Maxi Coffee situation.
How could you trust a man as your Prime Minister who lied for 31 years about 2 children that he had?
No, he didn't. You see, let me tell you something.
Go.
Donnie, the great Trumpy, got married.
Let me hear you.
In 1990 something, or in 2000, he ended up going to some golf tournament, and a nice young lady resembling his wife. He entertained her.
The $130,000. That was
some 10 years after the fact.
Pay the bill. Pay the bill. The bill come due. Robert.
But the woman put the letter out where the lawyer make a sign saying that he never had sex with her. So I mean,
are you saying that Keith Rowley's 2 outside children are both immaculate conceptions? He presented.
It could be the only. It could be the only absolution.
No. He presented them to the nation fully formed after elected.
Something years after.
In another country, the media would have never let go of that. You see how they don't let go of Trump?
Yeah,
they don't let go of Trump. You see how they didn't let go of Obama? Obama birth certificate dogged him for 8 years. You know,
yeah.
Paula Jones and Jennifer Flowers dogged Bill Clinton until Monica Lewinsky jumped out. Because when all Starr needed, remember the Starr special prosecutor, all he needed was something to hold as leverage to impeach Bill Clinton as a liar. Yeah. That's all he wanted. Yeah. He wanted to show that Bill Clinton was a liar, and he impeached him. Bill Clinton was successfully impeached. Yeah. That the Congress voted to not fire him. But he was impeached. And that is on his record forever. That as a sitting president, You were impeached
As a
for your
matter of
actions.
fact, I don't think Hillary and him it has been in the same room at the same
That is not my business. But I want to tell you, the people of the United States of America proved a point that they take their politics very seriously when it comes to responsibility in public office.
Don't you find it amusing that nobody in Trinidad and Tobago knows the Speaker of the House's telephone number?
That's not they know, they just not sure.
I can make some calls, but I want to tell you this. We've gone beyond that.
No, we ain't going to be on that.
The person I want you to get the number for is Roger Gaspard. I want us to write a letter to the Director of Public Prosecutions. We need his guidance.
Yeah.
He is a law unto himself under the Constitution. He is the last.
Yeah, but he will do nothing.
He is the last respite.
Philip,
I
let me
don't
tell you
know.
something.
I don't know. I don't know
He
if
will
that is true.
He will get the letter. It will go into file 13.
I don't know if that is true. I don't know if that is
And
true.
file 13 will go to
I
the
don't know if that is
bottom
true
of the
because I want to
tall
tell. I want
files.
to tell you this. This is worse than Section 34. And Keith Rowley built his political career and used
sinking
as a
stands.
fulcrum Section 34 to get in the government. What Keith Rowley has done here has brought the entire Parliament, cabinet, government into odium and disrepute. He has forced the Speaker to discredit herself.
Yeah.
And,
I think we may see the Speaker stepping down. Eh?
and all of them may be guilty of misbehavior in public office. We are at the start of this prosecution, this is not the end. Stick a pin in everything else. This is on what you bring Keith Rowley to
Down.
justice.
Yeah.
You bring him to justice on this.
Well, we need
If
to
Stuart
see-
Young was aware, if
Oh, yeah.
Stuart Young was aware that Maxi Coffee
Was ill.
was not fit for work
Yeah.
and lied to the nation,
Yeah.
Stuart Young misbehaved in public office.
I agree.
That is a criminal offense and the police need to launch an investigation. If Stuart Young lied to the cabinet, that's a criminal offense. They've confounded, and I want to keep using that word.
Here's what is funny. Here's what is funny in what you say. Are you telling me that the other 21 cabinet ministers, including Faris Al-Wari, are puppets? That Stuart Young and the boss will walk in because that is boss and master and so
Cabinet,
on.
cabinet privilege is not guaranteed by law. Cabinet you could get the minutes of the cabinet meeting and you could find out all who assented and all who said no. And that will tell you who are part of the grand conspiracy to fool the people of Trinidad and Tobago. What you're dealing with here is this. That seat in the parliament belongs to the people of La Hoqueta Talparo.
It does.
It doesn't belong to PNM and it doesn't belong to Maxi Coffee. It doesn't belong to the speaker. It belongs for eternity to the people of La Hoqueta Talparo. And we have a government that has conspired to defraud all of those people and disenfranchise them of their representation in the parliament. I asked last night, how many people have to become critically ill in the parliament for us to realize the purpose of parliament? 41, 40, 39? How many have to be absent? Does the speaker have to show up alone in the house? The point of the matter is you cannot have government without parliament. And if you have one member who is too ill to serve, the constitution provides a remedy, a by-election. Declare the seat vacant, give the people their representation.
I asked you this earlier. My view is that a substantial amount of responsibility in regards to this particular and this specific issue is in the hands of the opposition. Forget about the people of the country today because they seem to be very jamming still. Shouldn't the opposition be filing a question coming out of what has happened with the Prime Minister's information?
If you have to tell the opposition what to do.
Not me having to tell. Forget about
I'm not saying it's you.
us telling. The question is...
But I'm saying, if the opposition does not know its job, should they even be considered in this equation?
Yeah, but they have no choice because the same thing applies. They were voted in by the people and they're still there.
The only place they have any say is in the parliament.
Correct.
And the fact that the opposition and the leader of opposition business has not raised as a matter of urgent public interest the condition of the member of parliament for La Hoqueta Talparo and call the government to order shows that the opposition is just as manifestly dishonest because they don't know their job or they are failing to do their job. And we can no longer rely on the parliament to regulate itself. There is a machinery of state and those machines can now be activated. This don't have to stop. You need to start asking questions and begin a prosecution. Those prosecutors have to launch an investigation and start asking questions of each and every member of the parliament. Parliamentary privilege only kicks in for that debate.
All right, people, we take a break. When we come back, I'm going to get the 10 questions I sent to the media to share. And let's not forget, on June the 8th, 2017, in the Newsday, it was headlined, "I'm not wasting time." This was the words of the Prime Minister, Keith Christopher Rowley, when he was speaking at a post-cabinet press briefing at the Diplomatic Center in St. Anne's. He was asked, and he said, "But my understanding is that there are specific conditions on which the Chief Justice can be removed from office, and I'm not wasting time." Has those questions arose? Has any answers been given? And I make that statement against the background of the incoming president, who made a statement that indicates, "I am not in any way a person that is of an alternate sexual behavioral pattern."
As a whole other conversation.
All right, so we take a break.
All right, people, it's 11:35.
My mic off? We're on a break. Everyone, we're on a break for the ads. You could pause a live video. I don't think so. While you're waiting during the ads, there is an article on my wall, headline, "Government Fooling the People." I need you to go and take a read of that so you'll understand where some of the conversation is going to go after all of you on Facebook. I need you to go and look up that article, "Government Fooling the People," and take a read of that and share it with as many people as possible. This is important.
I get a chance. Saturday, answer she could make it. What? She had sent me muffins.
But you'll come in this Saturday. You'll come in this Saturday.
I'll come. I don't know if she comes. She's not well. Her doctor can have medication. Something eye infection. She wasn't enough good.
I understand.
I'm concerned about the outside of their house look like for the weekend because they're right on the same street as Frankie's, a couple houses away. Out by them, once you're in, you're in.
But the people of Trinidad are making fuss now.
Oh boy, by them real loud. They don't get a break from it because they're so close to everything.
I could imagine. We went back in? I could imagine.
Alright people, so we get back inside a sense of sensibility. It is now 11:38. To give you that time check courtesy of our registrar, Wheels.
Yeah, we inside?
I mean, we were talking about, I wasn't all talking about earlier about Mexico.
No, but why?
Lies, confusing lies, they lie, he getting his lies tired. And I still stand by Maxi Coffee dead. And he might have been dead since last year, November, and I just say November, and money thieving since then.
No, but Robert want to print something, and Kevin, you're absolutely spot on. And you can't take your eye off the ball. CNC3 broadcast this morning, government bringing anti-gang bill to House again. Government will be pursuing the anti-gang bill again, and this time Prime Minister Dr. Rowley hopes government and the opposition can work out the areas of concern the opposition had on the bill. I have serious concerns on that bill, and I would like to read that into the public record right now. The government is touting the anti-gang bill as the solution to violent crime, gang violence and murder, and is promising to bring it back to the parliament. But how does that work if the police service that is supposed to enforce that and all the other laws is corrupt? Isn't that more cart before the horse planning? The existing head of the Police Complaints Authority himself referred to the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service as a gang. So why is the government not putting the focus on first solving and preventing criminal activity where it can do the most good in the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service? Benjamin Franklin is noted to have said, those who would give up essential liberty for temporary safety deserve neither and would eventually lose both. And in this case, he was spot on. How does eviscerated essential rights and freedoms of the law-abiding citizens solve crime? I put to the nation that this anti-gang bill is the metastasizing of the cancer of demagoguery that this administration seems bent on forcing down the nation's throats at all costs and needs to be resisted with the full might of our democracy. The threat of a foiled terrorist attack is being touted as another reason to urgently enact this law. But how do we know if what the government says is true really is? In any other country, from the moment the threat was announced and that law enforcement was addressing it, the government and the police would have had a responsibility to keep the public informed as to exactly what was taking place and what progress was being made. Here, we get absolute silence and vague references as if the people's right to know can be trumped by government posturing and stunts. Seriously, not one Trinbagonian should take this government seriously on that issue until the government comes clean as to the who, the what, the where, the when, and the why. We need to know. The citizenry of this country should be fed up of writing blank checks to government, as none of them have ever worked out in our favor. If the government was serious about dealing with crime, it would clean up the police service and put steps in place to make the administration of justice more functional. It would invite tried and proven international law enforcement to assist in identifying the criminal elements within our police service and have them suspended and investigated pending prosecution. Properly done, we could clean up the police service within 6 months or less, making for a more trustworthy law enforcement system. If the government was serious, it would establish night courts and gun courts to take the burden off the existing backlogged court system. It would move to establish courtrooms within the prisons or in close proximity so as to deliver speedy justice on time and end the waste of transporting prisoners all over the island for cases that do not get called or dealt with. It would bring to the Parliament case management rules that stipulates going forward all civil cases must be completed within 3 years and all criminal cases within 5, so as to identify the judicial officers incapable of moving cases along in a timely fashion. All of these things and more trumps the need for any rights eviscerating laws, and I further put to the people of this country that if this government is incapable of managing the country, we need to fire them and replace them with one that can. Most importantly, we need to end the dictatorial rump and deepen our democracy.
Well, I think that the matters that you have brought to the public are important. I believe that we are playing stupid with the police service even after today. I had asked the Prime Minister, and I don't know if Kevin could find the clip where he responded, and that was over maybe a year ago. Yeah, it had to be there. We didn't throw it away. But as we wait for Kevin to pull that up, from the issues that took place with regards to the detaining of a number of citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, coming out of one of the Jamaats called the Nur-e-Islam Jamaat, which is Farouk Avenue, El Socorro in San Juan, It had no signature, which I feel very scary about, because I think people who are from this particular Jamaat need to at least put their pen to paper and not leave it open for people to wonder who sent it.
But your government does that every day.
Which is wrong. That doesn't mean to say that other people must do that.
I agree
every
with you.
letter I send, I sign.
But I agree with you. We have situations where releases are put in the public space and
nobody knows.
Who sent the release?
It's ridiculous. This was signed by the Imam and Management Committee. It says that the Nur-e-Islam Masjid, like all other masjids, promotes tolerance, peace and justice. We cooperate as much as possible with the authorities for the good of our country. In this regard, we acknowledge the professional display by the police officers who conducted a search of the masjid's premises on Thursday, the 8th of February at 4 a.m. Our Jamaat congregation adheres to the laws of the country and has nothing to hide. At the same time, we are concerned about the treatment and alleged abuse of members of our congregation at their private homes, resulting in serious injury to at least one person. No information was penned as to what that injury was or who the person that was injured or what caused the injury. And the Jamaats, if you are law-abiding, you have nothing to fear. You should put the information to the public domain.
How?
Facebook, letters like this to the media.
Yeah, but if the media, I asked my parents if they knew about the British citizens that were robbed and all who left Trinidad before Carnival.
Well,
my parents said that was not in news.
No.
My parents not on social media.
But you see, let me tell you something.
Why is the media playing hide and seek with the
No,
news?
but why is the people who have been robbed also playing hide and seek? Because they did post it up on Facebook. I did see it. I did respond to the person. I said, I saw your posting.
Right.
I understand what happened. You drove in into the yard. You came out the car. You got held up. Your father-in-law was upstairs. He was looking. He couldn't do nothing. You didn't have the key. The key was in the car. They didn't rape you. They didn't kill you. You're happy that you're alive. You pick up your Jaji bundle and you're going back to England. No problem.
Right.
So I call you now as a media house, sharing the express position that I want to interview you.
Right.
And after today, you damn hell let him say yes or no.
But
So it might be a blasted lie.
no, but you see, I don't know that. I don't know what that
And I
is.
don't know if it's the truth either.
But if the media is willing to pick up Maxi Coffee,
Listen,
I just
they're
asking
two
you,
separate issues.
how do they pick and choose? How do they pick and choose? what
Forget
is
about
news?
who picking and choosing. I'm not picking and choosing.
And-
Let's at least deal that we have one media house
And-
that is willing to pick up the issues.
So I want to ask you a question.
Forget about the other 35.
You think it is possible in a country where people come to the country to play mass and end up getting robbed at gunpoint and leaving? A lot of evidence exists. We could call the car rental agency, we could call the guest house, and I'm not telling you that you're wrong, that the person should, if you're going to raise it on social media and any media house reaches out to you,
You should at least,
have the
because you're
decency.
in England.
Absolutely, you say.
Nobody can come put a gun to your head and say, well, if you say anything, I'll go shoot you. What kind of dotishness?
Understood.
So, in regards to this, I'm saying the same thing applies, because you're talking about a congregation.
I just find it very difficult when you're dealing with the media in this country, because the media is willing. When you made a joke earlier about Hema Ramkisoon and having all these different people come on her show to discredit the call for transparency in the Maxi Coffee case, and they slandering and lambasting me, but she is not even reaching out to the public relations officer of the Progressive Empowerment Party to ask for a representative of the PP to come on the show and defend our position. That is not real, true, free and fair journalism.
Okay, so my point to you is just on a side note, because I believe that you as a political leader, whether interim or otherwise, have the right to write to her, put pen to paper, and say to her, Hema, I heard so on your program at so and so time, da, 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 da. I request to have an audience. Now, if she failed to give you the audience, you have the documentary proof that shows that you had reached out to her. Let the Barbie doll live with that. Because the Barbie doll is supposed to be fair to everybody. Not be selected because her boss tell her what color lipstick to put on this morning because she'll look nicer. I don't bloody hell care about that. As far as I'm concerned,
But that is what journalism seems
she
to
just
be
park
used
up, she
to.
just park up on Park Street and go to a little place right there to get she nails or whatever do, and she come out and she Mercedes Benz. Everybody know. So she can't hide from nobody. So if two rotten eggs tell it that's her problem because she will deserve it.
You listen.
I'm not advocating that. Yeah?
Yeah,
I
right.
didn't say that. I say if. IF.
No, but proverbial rottennecks is what goes on the station in the morning. If you have Fitzgerald Hines coming on the station to pelt proverbial rottennecks at me, and you do not invite me onto the station,
But
she is part of that conspiracy.
You are part and parcel of the problem because you have a right to write and say, yesterday,
But Janice
you
Lemon,
did so and so, so and so.
Janice Lemon Cricky, the PRO of the PEP, she is one of the hardest working PROs in politics, and she follows them all up. And she asks always for equal time, and that is not wrong. If you are going to try to discredit our position, at least have the decency and the courage to give us equal time.
At the end of it, I comply. I
agree with you.
I agree. I'm not fighting you. The point is, put your pen and paper in place.
I hear you.
Build your file. Now, according to the gentleman who supposedly signed this, which is the Imam, he says, as Muslims, you do not condone any of the immoral activities associated with carnival, but it is not within Islamic principles to attempt to take matters into our own hands and attempt to disrupt carnival by causing destruction, harm, or injury to persons or place. If there was really such a plot, we totally condemn these plans. Now, this is coming from the Jamaat. And this is the Nur-e-Islam Jamaat. After this came out, I forwarded this to all the media houses. I forwarded to every media or journalist that is on the system that I am aware of. And I said, I heard the recorded briefing tonight on the news conference, and I'm concerned that at today's briefing, which appears to be a continuation from some updates from the past, of which I am also unaware, I didn't hear anyone ask the following questions. Based on the letter sent out, are there any other masjids involved in the intelligence focused on the specific, or is it specific on this specific one? And how does the COP, Commissioner of Police, feel about this letter? You have this man writing a letter. Now another man did a recording, and the recording is going around right now on WhatsApp. And he went into a lot more detail. The only thing he didn't make was certain pronouncements. When the search was done, were there any weapons found? They were advised that they might have had by the intelligence weapons, and that these weapons might be associated with disruption of carnival. Has anything been found? Are there any persons detained presently on the world's terrorist watch list?
I want to interrupt you for a second. I want you to read that sentence after, but the sentence before about the weapons. Yeah. Could you read that again?
I said, when the search was done, were any of the weapons that were advised by the intelligence to be associated with disruption for carnival found?
I want to ask you a question. Your Prime Minister, and Kevin, you can research this. Your Prime Minister told the nation that there are 30,000 illegal guns in Trinidad. He said that number, and he said it with his own words. What is the difference between those weapons for that threat and the 30,000 illegal guns? And why wasn't the same attention placed? Because it's over a year ago that the Prime Minister told us of these 30,000 guns. Why wasn't the same attention placed on that?
No, I want to agree with you, Philip. That's why I came back and I said that.
No, I know you are a man that has your data.
Over the
so I'm
period
asking
of time,
you, and I know that when you sit down to prosecute a matter, you could go back and bring up all the historic facts, and that's what they don't like, because you get to hang them on their own words.
Well, at the end of the day, I'm not worrying with that right now, no? Because we are speaking to what they call it when you get injection in your mouth, so a numb society.
You're speaking to a vacuum.
We're speaking to a numb society. If it's vacuum is okay, at least we're getting stuck in somewhere. But it's a numb society we're talking to. That is like desensitizing lotion being used by a male prior to having an extended level of pleasure. Anyhow. Are any of the persons detained presently on the world's terrorist watch list? Can you imagine, after 9/11, they created something called a terrorist watch list?
You can't get on a plane if you're on that list. You can't get on a plane. You can't go in an airport if you're on that list.
You better believe it.
You can't go in an airport if you're on that list. You can't go in any public.
So here's the next question. Has any of those detained traveled to the terrorist known areas?
But you know, you could get that information in the United States, but you can't get that information in Trinidad.
Okay, so let's go again. Does any of the detained have any criminal records? or were they charged in the country or have warrants outstanding?
Do you know who was detained?
We don't know, but this is a question that Mark Bassan should have been asking.
But there was,
the intelligent Mark Stupid Bassan.
No, but Charlie, that's have time. While the smoke was still in the air in Florida, you knew Raul, whatever his last name is, who was the shooter.
Yeah, even after now, we don't know nobody because the detained and is a secret. We're holding on to the information. As if if a man pass $10,000 tomorrow by the police, we don't get the information.
But somebody said in a movie that I was watching, he said the problem with how we handle matters like this is that we seem to think that the public does not have a right to know.
Okay, so here we go. Were any of those detained associated to the ISIS issue previously found in Venezuela, where nationals have either been detained? Remember we have some...
Yeah, do we still have people there?
As far as I know, we do. Are those detained on a watch list of the government of Trinidad and Tobago? Does the government of Trinidad and Tobago have a watch list?
No, I don't.
Because, you know, at the end of the day, we talk about all these 100 and something people that went abroad, and people have been asking, including this man, Rodney Charles, about what happened in other parts of the world. And he said government was warned about the terrorist threat, including the possible negative consequences of returning terrorists. He says, we advised them that Canada's Public Safety Minister, Ralph Goodale, told their federal parliament that security forces were closely monitoring their 60 returnees. Our Minister of National Security, by contrast, has not even been able to tell us the number of returning here.
Because you have donkeys in government. Robert, from the moment you leave your country to pick up arms for another country, your citizenship supposed to be void.
Revoked, yeah. One time.
Your citizen, no, but stay on that point. Stay on that point. That should be a law. If you leave to fight war on behalf of another nation, void your citizenship.
Yeah, they should revoke you. They should revoke you. I don't know whether we can do that under the Constitution.
But that is a simple amendment to write.
Well, I understand that. But so, under the present law, we can't do it.
When they pick up this guy after 9/11, this white American that they found as part of Al-Qaeda, the first thing they had to do was revoke his citizenship to prosecute him as a foreign combatant.
But the thing is that maybe in the American law it does exist. In Trinidad law, I don't think it. Were any of those detained involved in the previous passport issue, which to date no information has been advised to the findings as to if the passports were issued from Trinidad and Tobago? Remember we had a 10 people or 12 people where they were talking about they found some passports, they found some kind of information, they was in the Middle East, they were supposed to be returning. National Security Minister said it under investigation.
It's still under investigation.
But, oh Lord, I mean, you think we're flipping through a correct system in the immigration?
Yeah, but Robert, this is a country that you could fly over in 5 minutes. This is a dot.
Well,
we can't have terrorist training camps. We can't have gangs. If we were a serious country,
no, we couldn't have that.
You could solve it in 24 hours. Everybody know where everybody is.
Yeah. Terminate.
Everybody know where everybody is.
Lock it down.
Why we can't have a Guantanamo rule?
Yeah, we could.
Why can't we remove you from civil society if you don't want to play nice?
Well, let me tell you something. If I am the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, I have 5 Israelis inside here right now interrogating them 12 people, you know. Because when I finish my first round of interrogation, man begging to go home, you know.
Finish your contribution, my
friend. Have they requested any legal representation?
But it is their right under law.
Of course, but I'm asking.
But it is their right under law.
But
and
Philip,
their lawyers...
Why didn't Mark Stupid Bassan ask that question?
But Robert...
Mark is Stupid Bassan.
But their lawyers and the Law Association supposed to be standing up for this. Because their lawyers are supposed to also be interviewed by the media. And I'm saying this. Trinidad and Tobago is a nation ruled by law. We are a republic. And every citizen has rights. I can't tell you because somebody is Muslim. It's easy to... I watch a Calypsonian...
But that's what the man say,
I watch a Calypsonian embarrass and humiliate people of Chinese descent at the Dimash Grass show. And I was very upset. And I was very upset in Trinidad. And I was very upset that an entire Calypso could have been written and reached the finals and broadcast to the world, humiliating people of Chinese descent, when that same singer, if he was sitting in the audience or home watching TV and listening to a Calypsonian denigrate somebody of African descent, would not have been happy. This is a country where we
see... Which Calypso was that?
Good question, because...
It was the 3rd or 4th Calypso. And...
You could do what you want to say what they want about the Chinese, because they don't fight back. So that's what
it is not that. In Trinidad, the Chinese is a minority. So we seem to think that we can get away with that. But the point I'm trying to make to you is this. You cannot decide to denigrate people based on race or gender. It is in our national anthem. Here, every creed and race finds an equal place. So the Muslims and the Chinese and the Jews and everybody supposed to live in harmony under the rights provided by the Constitution in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. If these people have been detained because I do not trust this government, I am not judging the case.
Yeah.
I am not judging the case. But these people have a right to legal representation.
And this is the question I don't understand. Why did none in the media ask it?
I was told...
Yeah. We have to go, but I agree with you. Bottom line. Finally, does the minister provide the findings to the international community through the channels provided with respect to the severity of the disruption? I mean, you can't tell me that we are part of this whole global world.
How many days have passed since that announcement, and we
are about 5 days.
We are none the wiser. CNC3 and TV6 didn't make a graphic. Bomb threat in Trinidad. Anyway, listen. Trinidad and Tobago, it is time for you to wake up and to realize that the media has a role and a responsibility in this country. The judiciary, the police service, the government, the parliament, everybody has a role. And we need to get these people to start doing their role and playing their role and living up to their responsibility.
Until next week, people, when we be back, I just tell you that in June also on the 8th, Al-Wari was to seek clarification on the auto tints.
This Saturday, 19 Stanmore Avenue, the Progressive Empowerment Party has a public meeting. All are invited.
All right, we'll 11:59, that time to come security of Hearty Foods.